Yeah, just live like a local just to get the experience of, living like the African. I didn't come here to have like some American experience in Africa. Like when I got my first place, we had to fetch water, we had to do all that stuff. And I like it. I like it, because I've lived in much nicer places with a gym in my apartment, coffee in my apartment, coffee, like all of these luxurious things. And honestly, when I came to Ghana, I didn't that even though I like luxury, I like, nice things, I like to have convenience and things like this. I wanted to learn some sense of independence coming here to Africa. I actually wanted to live like a African, a local African that doesn't have the benefits that Americans do. Like I wanted to learn how to fetch water. I wanted to, you know, connect with my roots, and if these are what the locals are doing, I want to do it too because I want to be humble. That's just how I am. Some people, they may not want to do anything like that or have an experience like that, and I get it. But for me, I like to have a certain independence, and I like to be in humbling experiences like that. So now I'm in a much nicer place. I don't have to really fetch water or anything like that, but it doesn't bother me. Those things don't bother me. I actually like those experiences. Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lala's Journey, and I've been documenting my journey here in Africa for over 2 years now. And I just wanted to come to you guys with some insight on what it takes to live here in Ghana. Like, I want to give you 10 vital tips to living in Ghana if you choose to move out here. These are the things that you absolutely need to know before moving here just to mentally prepare yourself. Okay, so number one, let's get into the video. Okay, so the number one thing you need to know before coming to Ghana are the greetings and the customs. This is something I absolutely didn't know when I came out here, and moving here from New York, it was a huge culture shock for me, and it was definitely something I had to get adjusted to over time. Now I'm speaking more like a local, but here in Ghana, they have customs like saying good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Like if you go to a store and you purchase a product, it's polite to say a greeting first, the appropriate greeting, and then you ask your question about what you want in the store, or any other questions you have to ask them, like anything. Like it could be any interaction with people. Before you speak to them, it's common to greet them. Younger people may not care too much about it, but definitely the older generation, like they really stick to their customs. So this is something you absolutely need to know because I think I rubbed some people the wrong way when I came here because coming from New York, like we are very blunt. We just get straight to the point. It's all about, efficiency in New York. It's all about moving quickly and efficiently without, the extra hoopla like good morning, good afternoon. We definitely do not do that in New York at all. Like it's actually safer for you not to just speak to strangers. But here in Ghana, it is more of a communal environment. So when you call someone, good morning. Even when you're texting Uber, good afternoon, good evening, whatever. Like anyone you talk to is customary to greet them first. So keep that in mind when you come out here so you won't, burn bridges before you've even gotten to the country. So yeah, just make sure you keep this in mind. Don't feel bad though if you forget sometimes because sometimes, by habit, I'm just like, let me get this right here. And I forget to be like, good morning before I ask them for a product. So just keep that in mind. So the next thing you need to keep in mind before you decide to move out here and go apartment hunting and all these things is it's much more expensive in the city than it is in the outskirts. I live in the outskirts. Most of my expat friends live in the outskirts. Some do live in the city. Like most of the people I've interviewed live in the city. Um, when I came here, my original plan of action was to move to the city, to go apartment hunting in the city. I asked people to look for places for me before I even came out here, some of my Ghanaian friends. But once I got here and I spent time at Big Millie's and I saw what it was like to live in a village, I thought, this is a lot less hassle than it is living in a city. So number one thing, like transportation is much more expensive in the city. Like when you're taking Uber, Bolt, whatever, food is much more expensive in the city. When I lived in Coco Brite, I would get a plate of rice for like 15 CDs, 20 CDs. When you go to the city, it's more like 30 CDs, 20 CDs. The price is kind of like double in the city. The prices are at least 50 to a at least 50%, 25 to 50% higher than it is in the outskirts. And that applies to rent, everything, goods, food, going to the grocery store, like any product you buy on the street, things are just way more expensive in the city. So keep that in mind when you're moving out here because you have to pay for rent a year in advance. You have to do all of these things like a year in advance. So I think it's smart when you move out here, if you're working with a budget, to move to the outskirts first until you learn the city a little bit more and you learn how to budget based on what things cost there. So this is a actually great tip that I'm giving you guys because like I lived in Coco Brite for about a year and then I spent a little time in the city for about 3 months. I lived in the city. So um, yeah, I saw the differences in prices, and that's what made me decide to stay outside of the city when once I got my new place. So please keep that in mind, y'all. Like it is much more expensive in Accra, like in the like the city center, like the center of the city. It things are so like the prices cost like some of the things are similar prices to what you would get in America, like the prices you would get in America. Especially when you're going out to the bar, like the drinks cost about the same as they do in America, and just everything, amenities, transportation, everything. So please, please, please keep that in mind, especially around holiday season. Holiday season, the prices actually increase from the price I told you earlier to 2 times more than that. So I don't mind. Listen, Ghanaians are going to capitalize on tourism, but boy, when I say they raise those prices like crazy around the holiday season, I was like, nah, I don't think it's best for me to live in a city because I told my friend like I wanted to get like this ice cream sundae and it was about 80 CDs when I looked on their pictures on Google. But see, they had not updated the pictures, and when you went to the store though, around December, it was 160. They doubled the price based on the holiday season because they know foreigners will be here. They're going to bring their US and their euros, the dollars and the euros. So they're going to try to capitalize. And I noticed in the village, in the suburban areas, in the outskirt areas, they do not do that. So please keep that in mind, especially if you're trying to budget. Another thing you should be aware of, and a lot of YouTubers won't tell you this, but you know I'm gonna keep it real. Y'all, it's a huge prostitution culture here, especially in the city. Now, in Coco Brite, I see them walking up and down the street in the middle of the night. Usually alone or with a friend of theirs. But in America, we have the hookup culture. Like people literally meet at a club, hook up, no funds exchange, no funny business. But here it's a prostitution culture. Like you can't just take some of these women home and think that you're not gonna pay them. I'm not talking about Ghanaians. most of the prostitutes here are not Ghanaian. They're from other countries in Africa. And I've heard if you take some of these women home, they will ask you for money. So as as a man, don't think you're just going to come out here and hook up with girls without, vetting first to see if this is like a genuine connection or is it a transaction. So keep that in mind. And for the women, be wary, like walking and late at night by yourself in suggestive clothing. You don't want to be mistaken as a prostitute. Because I was mistaken as one because I had on some loose shorts, which were much longer than these shorts. They were like in the middle of my thigh. And I had on an off the shoulder top, but it was like a really cute top, but it showed no cleavage, nothing. And this guy thought I was a prostitute because in the city where I was located at the time, there's lots of prostitutes walking on that strip, and it's in Osu. So Osu, Isagon, all of these places where people have money, that's where they frequent. They definitely frequent Osu over there by the KFC and the Republic Bar. Like they love to hang out over there. Anywhere where men have money, like this is where they frequent. So women try not to be confused as one, and the men don't just bring every woman home thinking that she may not be a working woman. So please keep that in mind. And also women, if you're coming out here and you hope to find love, don't get on these dating sites, okay? Because most of the women that are on those dating sites are there for transactional purposes. They're not there for love. So there's plenty of Ghanaian guys that will approach you in person. You don't have to get on a dating site. I haven't been on it, but I've heard the story. So please keep that in mind. The Uber in Ghana is very different, okay? It's very different system than what we are used to in America. So first things first, when you book the Uber, you want to text him and say, hey, are you coming? Because some of the Uber drivers here, they would just sit there in one spot and have you waiting for 20 minutes and the car hasn't even moved. And this is because they don't want to waste fuel coming to your location to they just don't want to waste fuel. So some people, they won't even communicate. They just wait for you to cancel. So it's best to save your time to reach out to them. To save your time, it's best to reach out to them and be like, hey, are you coming? You call or you text. If you don't get a response back, text, call them. If you don't hear any response, then cancel if they're not moving. So that's how it is here. And also, once you get in an Uber, if you're not booking an Uber Comfort, which most times I don't see Uber Comfort. Like Uber Comfort doesn't come to my side of town. So a lot of these Ubers do not have air conditioning. So y'all, it's hot. It's always hot in Ghana. My dress is sweated out. I had to change to do this video. So you will be very uncomfortable sometimes because in Ghana they don't use air conditioning in a Uber unless you plan to pay them a tip, which is probably like 20 extra CDs, 15 extra CDs for them to feel motivated to turn on the air conditioner because it wastes fuel. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. And they can cancel the trip at any time. You can cancel the trip at any time. And in here, they don't like for you to pay with card. Everything is cash only. So when I book the Uber, I always choose cash because if you choose card payment, usually some people won't even come because they don't want a card payment. So Uber is very different here. Please keep that in mind. The next one. Power outages, network outages, and water outages happen here frequently and sometimes randomly. Randomly and sometimes frequently. It doesn't happen frequently all the time, but this month in my location, it's been a lot of outages from the network. Well, the whole underwater. We were affected here in Ghana by some problem underwater with the network, international problem, and we were without internet for like 2, 3 days. I heard some people lost their jobs. For me, it was very frustrating because I lost some students that could have been regular students for me, but I had to cancel some people I couldn't communicate with. So things like this can be very, very frustrating. And the only thing that helped me in this situation was that I had a friend with an Airtel Tigo SIM card, and she actually had network. So MTN users had no network for about literally 3 days, and this really affected my business. So keep that in mind. If you have an online job, try to have like some type of backup plan. Like I said, I had a friend who helped me. Actually, my babysitter, she has Airtel Tigo SIM card, so I was able to use her hotspot to do the rest of my classes, but I missed about a whole day of classes, almost a day and a half worth of classes, so I missed out on money. So when you come here, just think about those things. Maybe get 2 different SIM cards with 2 different networks, or be friendly with the locals. So if you need something from them or they need something from you, vice versa, you can be there for one another. And then yeah, it's very frustrating when the water goes out, and if you don't have like a storage system for water, like we have the bin where you put the water in there. I have 2 gallon buckets, and then I have a storage unit that can hold about 3 gallons worth of water. So I just keep that just in case the water goes out, because sometimes it may, once it went out for like 2 weeks. 2 weeks, like these are things that realistically happen here in Ghana, especially if you don't have like the highest budget. So if things like this happen, you need to be like prepared. So I'm mentally preparing you for this. And then power outages. Like if you work online, it's best to have one of these. My power is on right now, but I'm doing the video, so you need one of these, like absolutely, especially if you work online. Portable charger, definitely. They even have solar power units that you can hook up to a house here. Some companies sell that, so that's another option if you have the budget for it. Yeah, these are the things that you should know and be aware of. And also, when you're moving into a new place, it's always best to ask people like, hey, how long does the water shut off here? And how long does the power shut off? Just so you're aware ahead of time and you're not hit with surprises that you can't handle. Another tip is some things are hard to find here in Ghana, y'all, and I didn't realize till I came out here. So I'm just giving you a heads up just in case you want to bring these things along with you. First thing first, my feet. I'm 5'11". I'm pretty tall. Okay, so my feet. I wear the 8.5 in guys' shoes in America. I wear 9.5 in women's, and here I think it's a 42 in sandals. If I want I like to have a little extra room at the back of my heel, so I get 42. I can sometimes squeeze in a 41, but I don't like the feel of it. And then in heels, anywhere between a 42 and a 43. But finding these shoe sizes, most places in Africa that I've been, they don't have it. Especially in Tanzania, they just did not have my shoe size. And here in Ghana, like they have some online stores that I can reach out to that has it. But when I want to do like just random shopping on the side of the street, most people don't have my size. And I'm just come to terms that like that's something I should have maybe brought out here with me if I wanted more options as far as my shoes go. But I'm not really a shopaholic, so it doesn't really bother me that much. But I have been able to find a few pairs of shoes that I like in my size here. But you really got to go looking online, because if you look in the store, it's going to frustrate you because most people just won't have that size, the bigger sizes. And guys, I don't know about guys, I think guys shouldn't have any problem, but I think it's the women, because the women here are not my height at all. Like most of the women in Ghana are short, so this is just something I have to come to terms with. It is what it is. Another thing that's hard to find here is dental floss. Dental floss. I really gotta go on a hunt looking for dental floss, because sometimes ShopRite has it, sometimes it doesn't. Um, You may find the ones that you use like handheld, and I don't like those. My teeth, everybody loves my teeth. But my teeth have absolutely no gaps in between any of my teeth. So I absolutely need dental floss after every meal, especially if I'm eating chicken or meat or beef or anything. So that's very important to me, and it's very hard to find here. So sometimes I have to plan ahead of time if I'm about to run out of dental floss. I'm not gonna say it's absolutely impossible to find, but it's very hard to find. So keep that in mind. Also, fitted sheets. Fitted sheets are very freaking hard to find. I don't know why, but maybe you have to go to more of the upscale places to find it. Because when I go to Malcolm, sometimes they don't have the fitted sheets, or the fitted sheets might cost a lot more. So maybe these are things that you want to pack with you. Yeah. Another thing you should know about Ghana before coming here is bribery is common. I'm sure you've heard this from a few different people, but it's very common here with the police. When you drive throughout Accra, there's many checkpoints, especially in a city in the night. And these people come out when they know that people are going to party, they're going to have a good time, because more than likely they may have some marijuana, they may have some alcohol, in their car driving around illegally. They may find more people, up to no good around these times. So they tend to be out there in the middle of the night on Friday, Saturday, the nights where they know that young people are out and they up to no good. So please keep that in mind if you plan to do some mischievous activities, okay? Also, if they do find something that maybe your papers aren't up to date, or you riding dirty or whatever, like, they will use this as an opportunity to suggest that maybe you should give them a little something, euros or dollars or CDs, so more than likely they're going to want a few CDs from you, not a lot. The most I've seen them take from the people that I've been around that's been driving is like 100 CDs, and that's like roughly like $8, and that person was riding dirty. So these, to be honest, I don't like any corruption, but I prefer the corruption here than the corruption in America, because in America, the corruption is covert. Like, it's really hidden. It's like organized corruption, and sometimes they'll arrest you when you're innocent just to meet that quota and be able to arrest enough people for their shift. And they will, try to finesse you in the court system. But here in Ghana, they don't have all that time. Like, they don't want to do all that. They just ask you up front, overtly, like, hey, maybe you should give me this, And honestly, I'd rather you do that than to take me through the draining court process system. So yeah, some people may not like it at all, especially if you're innocent and you don't have any reason to give them money. I wouldn't give them money if I don't have any reason to, honestly. So that's what I would advise you. Just, stand your ground, but sometimes it's not worth the fight. But yeah, you don't always have to give them money. So, but keep that in mind. If you plan to drive out here in Ghana, like, this is something you need to be aware of. Okay, so the tip that I have to give you is, the next tip that I have to give you is, you will be uncomfortable a lot, okay? Because you're coming from a completely different culture. Everything is completely different here. Actually, in America, we don't even really have like much culture. We just do what we want to do. But here, like, things are done a certain way, and it sometimes may annoy you, because you may feel like, what's the point? Especially when you have to say good morning, good afternoon. Like, you maybe want to do things how you're used to it. And like I said, when you're hot on Uber, like, these things, may make you uncomfortable. When the power outage goes out, when all of these things go out, you could be very unhappy during these moments. I'm not gonna lie. But when you really look at the big picture, it's like, it really is worth it, because with all the issues in America, it does not compare to a power outage or a network outage. Like, when I feel uncomfortable in these moments, I really sit back and I'm like, but my daughter is extremely happy. Like, I would never want to take that from her. And then, yeah, it's like I know I'm here for a bigger purpose, and I know once my daughter grows up, some of the things that I'm uncomfortable with, it won't be a problem in the continent anymore. Hopefully, that's what my vision. That's what I see in my vision, you know. And yes, I think it's worth the sacrifice. So when you feel uncomfortable and you feel stressed and you feel like, wow, this is such a shocker for me, like just breathe, you know, because I'm letting you know now. You will be uncomfortable, not a lot, but in those moments where you are, you'll be like, damn, like I miss constant like power and water flowing and all of these things, but you forget like all of the negative that's happening in America as well. Like no place will ever be fully perfect. And because I have traveled all over like Asia, Africa, Jamaica, yeah, everywhere. Like I've been to different places. So um, from me reflecting on my travels, what I can tell you is no place is perfect. Every place has something that annoys the crap out of me. And in those moments, you just gotta breathe, and recognize why are you doing it. If it's worth it for you, if it's worth the sacrifice, I would just stick through the uncomfortability. Next tip I have for you is the SIM card. The SIM card process is stressful. It's stressful. When I came here, because I had went to Nairobi and Tanzania and places where the SIM card process was a lot easier. When I got here, I was like, why is it so difficult? Like, I was really shocked by the SIM card process because here, to get a SIM card, you have to have a Ghana card. I think a Ghana card, I don't know how much it costs, but I'm thinking it's like $160, like $150, something like that. If you have the money to just get it, get it. But this is the kicker right here. Like even with the Ghana card, you can't do mobile money sometimes. I don't know what is the point of giving us a SIM card without being able to use mobile money. People say it's for security reasons, but I think they should adjust some things as far as that goes. But yeah, you can't send money even with the Ghana card. You don't have access to the things that the locals have access to. So please keep that in mind because when you get here, like when you get that Ghana card and you go get your SIM card, you realize, damn, I can't send money. Like, what really can I do? Like, you still have to depend on a local. And to get the full access to mobile money and everything like that, you have to get residency as well. So all of these things take time. It takes money. So my advice to you is befriend as many people as possible that's willing to help you through that process. Because I had a local that helped me get my SIM card at the time, and that made things much easier for me. Because if I was to go and get the Ghana card and get a SIM card that I can't even use access mobile money, like it's just pointless to me to spend money. What is the point of getting a Ghana card if we don't have accessibility to what the locals have accessibility to? So that sucked for me. But yeah, keep that in mind, y'all. It's a very stressful process. It's a very codependent process to have to depend on someone else to do it. And I don't like depending on people that I knew that this is something that I have to do to be able to, do my affairs. So, yeah, that's a big tip. Big tip. As soon as you touch down, try to befriend someone that's very helpful that would love to help you get a SIM card so that you don't have to go through the extra stress. The next thing is live like a local. Live like a local to save money and learn the culture. Because honestly, if I was just to come here, go on Uber every day, I wouldn't learn much about the culture. I wouldn't learn much about what things cost. I wouldn't learn, um, how to budget, all of these things. Because when I buy certain foods, Like, for instance, when I buy my dinner, I have someone bringing my dinner right now, and it's 20 CDs. So for a full plate of rice, chicken. So when I calculate this in my head and I go to the city, right, and I realize like this plate of pasta costs like 200 CDs. I'm like, should I make my own pasta or should I pay for this pasta? That's 200 CDs. That's 10 plates of dinner. So when you live like a local, spend like a local, you learn like, this isn't worth it. Even if I have the money, it isn't worth it to me. um and when I ride the chocho, like, it gives me a better sense of where I'm going, because I have to know which direction is which. So that's what I like about riding the chocho, is now I'm fully aware of which direction is which, and my way around the city. And also, yeah, just live like a local, just to get the experience of, living like an African. I didn't come here to have like some American experience in Africa. Like when I got my first place, we had to fetch water, we had to do all that stuff, and I like it. I like it, because I've lived in much nicer places with a gym in my apartment, coffee in my apartment, coffee, like all of these luxurious things. And honestly, when I came to Ghana, I didn't. That Even though I like luxury, I like, nice things. I like to have convenience and things like this. I wanted to learn some sense of independence coming here to Africa. I actually wanted to live like a African, a local African that doesn't have the benefits that Americans do. Like, I wanted to learn how to fetch water. I wanted to, you know, connect with my roots, and if these are what the locals are doing, I want to do it too, because I want to be humble. That's just how I am. Some people, they may not want to do anything like that or have an experience like that, and I get it. But for me, I like to have a certain independence, and I like to be in humbling experiences like that. So now I'm in a much nicer place. I don't have to really fetch water or anything like that, but it doesn't bother me. Those things don't bother me. I actually like those experiences. So if you want to learn more about Ghana and learn more about Ghanaians and learn more about the culture and learn shortcuts and how to get things done like a local, live like a local, live like a local. Do what the locals do. Because when it makes you less dependent on the system and other people. So I just wanted to give you guys some insight on what to expect when you get to Ghana. It is a perfect place for me. What I prioritize is here, so I'm willing to sacrifice the negative things to have this positive experience in Ghana. And if it's not the ideal experience for you, there are 53 other countries in Africa besides Ghana. So you guys, like, these videos are just to give you insight. It's not to come down on Ghana or, make Ghana look bad. Like, when you're coming from America to Africa, this is an expensive journey. Um, and I don't want you guys to have to go through the same mistakes that I went through trial and error, because when you get here, if you're not mentally prepared, you definitely will go through trial and error. Okay, so I hope I was able to give you guys some insight, and I have to go now, but thank you for watching. If you guys like more videos like this, make sure you hit that notification bell to see more videos like this, and one love. Bye.